Welcome to Full Sun Living, everybody. Today is
It's a day.
It's a bittersweet episode. And we're not even going to do an intro. We're just going to get right into it.
Let's do it.
Or should
Ethan
we
Bricker.
do an intro?
Well, you know what? Who cares about the intro?
Okay, throw the intro out. Here we
Guys,
go.
I'm Nate Thompson here with my
Co-host
great friend,
Ethan Bricker. And this is our very last episode
It is
of Full Sun Living.
And yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty bittersweet. I'm sure a lot of you
I probably
are like, why? What are you doing?
We hate each other.
Yeah.
And
behind the scenes, it's a mess.
We love each other.
Fight constantly.
It's
when we're not recording, we're arguing.
Yeah. No, I would say I'll go first.
You go first. Yeah.
We started this when?
January 5th, 2022.
2020.
Yeah.
And it was and is one of my favorite things I've ever done.
Same.
Absolutely. I feel like it came at such a great time for me personally. Just to have like a spot with such, dude, I just love chatting with you. Mm-hmm. And then having all of like these conversations recorded for me is just like super special. But when we started this, it was just such a fun thing to have our little spot to like share ideas, to share thoughts, to kick around the gospel with each other and to share it with all of you guys. And then as we've done this for the past 2.5 years, it's just been, it is an absolute joy to my heart.
Yeah.
And I think with right now, well, we're going to talk, but I mean, we're coming to just crossroads of life, and things we are absolutely love each other. Mm-hmm. And even just now, we were just chatting about really one of the only things that will change for us is that these conversations aren't recorded.
Yeah. Which is it's a great feeling that all these conversations didn't just happen with a microphone in our face. Mm-hmm. That like we had many other conversations that never involved recording.
We've had times, guys, where we've come in and sat here for like an hour or more talking about what we were gonna talk about, but ended up not talking about what we're gonna talk about, and just have like just teary-eyed moments together.
Yeah.
And then we would come and record the episode and almost not talk about something completely different, but it was like
it didn't have the feels of
like we would be able to actually like get through it and talk about it. But so funny.
I feel like the podcast came at such a good time as well, because I feel like in 2020 everything shut down.
Crazy,
and we were,
dude.
I think it was just like, I don't know, everything shut down, and there was this thought of like both of us just feeling like we're not going to get shut down. Like we're going to do something. We're going to encourage people, and to like, I think just starting the pandemic out of us doing this and encouraging people and picking topics that were, at the time, we were talking about really hard topics. Like we were talking about coronavirus, George Floyd. Like we went through a bunch of different topics, and
dude, it would be bizarre to listen back, even because I can remember right now, I almost don't want you to listen back, because I can remember us thinking like the pandemic was going to just be done pretty soon.
Yeah. Any moment now will just be done.
I had a conversation with a guy I work with when it first started. I was like, I'll give it like 3 or 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I think it's going to be longer. Yeah, Kirk, you were right. Kirk, I give you full credit. I was so wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah.
And here we were meeting in your living room or your studio. Oh, dude, back in the old suburb. Before you were a farmer.
Yeah. Before I gave up farming. Before I was a farmer and then I wasn't. Kind of.
Yeah,
I'm a homesteader now. We've changed
people.
The title. We're homesteaders now, not farmers. It's different.
It's different.
But
it's more progressive.
Yeah, it really is. It requires less work.
Okay.
But I feel like, dude, for me, this has been such a life-giving process of just like sitting down with you, hearing your opinion about so many different things. We did the math. So I guess I'll just start giving you guys some of the statistics. So this episode right now that you're listening to is our 65th episode. We've recorded 65 of these bad boys. 1,942 minutes. 1,942 minutes worth of content.
1,942 minutes.
That's how long we've been talking on this podcast. So, which equates to like 32 hours straight of
so
talking.
you're welcome.
Yeah. So if you've ever been like,
you're welcome
man,
for that little gift.
I wish I could just listen to Ethan and Nate talk for more than a day's worth. A solid day and a half. Yeah, we've given you that gift. You're welcome. Since our first episode, we've had 6,119 downloads as of this day of this recording, which it'll continue to go up even after this day. But
that blows my mind.
6,000 downloads, which is crazy. That's almost 100 downloads per episode, which is pretty sweet. Yeah. Do you want me to go through our most popular episodes?
Yeah. He hasn't told me this.
So our number one most popular episode is GPS for Life.
Gosh, first one.
The very first episode, which it kind of makes sense. It's let's start at the beginning. But that is
GPS
it's
for
still,
life,
we
man.
started off so strong with that episode. I feel like that was such a solid one to start with. About like setting goals, sitting down, not just like letting life happen to you, but creating a vision for yourself and for your family and for your life. And I'm still jazzed that that's how we started this thing. Yep.
Dude, yeah.
Do you want to hear the second most popular? Second most popular, which just makes me laugh, is asking each other uncomfortable questions.
I didn't want to confess that I would punch Kate for $1 million.
That was, would you slap Kate for, I think it was even $10,000. It wasn't even a lot. It was like for $10,000.
Like I had to
and he was like, I would, I don't. I was like, say it. And number 3 most popular, which kind of made me a little bit grossed out that everybody was like, ooh, I want to hear that episode. More Naked and More Afraid. Which was our...
We gave the people what they wanted.
Yeah, we gave it to them. I mean, the thumbnail of our YouTube video really got people.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, but those were our top 3.
GPS for Life.
Yep. It was a great time. But I would say over this time, like what I'm thankful for the most is just like our friendship and like having heart-to-heart conversations, and just hearing a different perspective than my own. Like I can't even tell you how many times I've finished one of these conversations and just been like, man, I've literally never looked at something from that angle before. Yeah, it's frequent. Almost every episode, there's like something you bring to the table where I'm like, man, I've never seen it that way. And I'm just super thankful that for 64 episodes, 64 different occurrences where I've heard a different perspective than my own, has just been really special. So thank you for that. You're a good bro.
You're a good bro. I think like there's something like even when we can do this for as long as we have in such just a positive way, because I know for both of us there were times where it's like, oh crap, we gotta record, like where we're like, oh no, like time got away from us, and it's like, all right, we just got to get together. What day lines up? And I'm like, I'm on call. I'm 12, and we're trying to line a day up, and then where it almost, but like a handful of times where it's like last minute. But even in that, when we're together in it, it's just like, I could sit here for hours and just chat. And then
like the stress of setting everything up, getting all the lighting ready, getting the microphones, everything tested, and it's like stressful. And then you hit record and you sit down and you start talking. You're like, this is so worth it. Yeah.
And to have like all the conversations we've had are so they've just been so personal for both of us. I mean, it was pretty rare for us to have to like manufacture a topic.
Yeah.
I feel like we were already just talking about things, or would say like something you would have, like you're like, I've been thinking about this, and then throw it out there and it's like, let's go, let's talk about that. Has been so much fun.
Yeah. It's been really good.
What was your favorite episode?
I have 3. I picked my top 3. My favorite episode is GPS for Life, because that, when I became friends with you, that was the thing that I feel like really redirected my life and my marriage and everything like that. I feel like before being friends with you, I didn't have a lot of like vision or goals for my wife or my family and my relationship with Lydia and how we run our family and everything like that. Is like meeting you and Kate. I always call her Kate, but people call her Katie, so that's weird. Kate, meeting you and Kate, and just hearing how you guys would set goals for each other, and it just like made me and Lydia just like, whoa, there's a different level of this whole marriage thing that can like propel us forward. And so that, it's my favorite episode because by the time we recorded it, we had started that, and we were already seeing the fruit of it all, because we had already recorded like an album together, and we were already, recording more music and doing different things that were for our marriage and that we were running together towards. And so that is my favorite one by far, because I know how impactful that episode could be for somebody who would never hear it before.
Mine is which is funny because mine's the second episode following that, which is
the gold nuggets are right at the beginning, guys. If you want to hear our best episodes, it's the beginning. It gets gradually worse.
It's a slow decline. It's the pull the trigger one.
Yeah.
And I loved it because I can remember right now just us sharing failures. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something about that with a friend, when you can have I can have the confidence in my friend that I'm going to just tell you some fails and you're recording it on your stuff. And then you do the same. And to be able to share that in the failures, like pointing to the Lord.
Yeah.
Like that episode is just it's memorable to me. I feel like I've referred some of my just family and friends and coworkers ask me about it with different things, and it's just that episode has come full circle, and it's just I really enjoyed that one.
I liked that one. It's funny too, because I remember when we recorded it, I was thinking what are some of my biggest failures? Trying to actually think about it, because when you don't like failing, nobody likes failing, but when you really don't like failing,
it's not
you bury it and you don't want to remember it. And I remember just trying to dig through the unconscious, no, I buried that, I'm never going to find it again memories. And I feel like there's something about just laughing at yourself, laughing at your own failures that gets you to the point. Because now if you ask me, I'd be like, boom, boom, boom.
Actually,
which
I got a list over here.
Yeah, there we go. Which is great, because I feel like over time, even just this podcast, I can even see a difference in myself where I'm I don't take myself so seriously as much as maybe even at the beginning. I feel like I might have took myself way too seriously. In over 2.5 years, I can already tell that I'm not
crazy, right?
I feel like I don't look at myself that seriously, in that way anymore.
I'm going to give you another one that makes me laugh right now, just even thinking about it. Was I know the hike one, the second one, the More Naked, More Afraid one, but there was something just so fun about our first
the failure, just a
bomb.
It was awful,
and how we were we didn't know what we were getting into.
And I did not do well.
It just was that whole trip was the most, to look back, this the realistically scariest thing with the medical emergency.
Yeah.
But that which was like legitimate, like this is a
oh my gosh,
problem.
we're gonna have to carry
This
somebody
is a
out of
problem.
here.
And then all just the like superficial problems that were very big. Like all our feet were bleeding, the sand dunes, and how we all like were bringing like designer gear out there because we had no clue.
I was
about
carrying
anything.
like 55 pounds
That
worth
Cholula,
of crap.
that still
a
comes
huge
up.
thing of Cholula. How much Cholula can you eat?
I'm not
on a
lying to
trip?
you. The Cholula came up last night because Kate made. We had a taco
It's so
bar.
good.
We had a taco bar because Bear had Sophie and Ellie wanted to have a sleepover, so we have a taco bar. Then Connor ends up stopping by, and then he's like, "Do you have any Cholula?" And I'm like,
Best hot sauce ever.
I open the door. I literally have the tiniest bottle of Cholula. Like, he's like, he's holding it like it's like this. And he's like, you remember that? He's like, Ethan brought a bigger bottle on a hike than you own in your house. I died.
It's like, I need all the comforts of my home.
I have never since been able to look at Cholula the same because it just hit so hard to see you pull out this big of a bottle on a hike that we were out there for 2 days, just a sprinkle.
It's too hot for me. I can't do a lot. And then the following year, everyone's like, Ethan, do you have any hot sauce? I'm like,
Taj.
no,
Taj
I do
Mahal.
not. The next year, I went from being the Taj Mahal to like,
streamlined.
what was the next year? Like
18 pounds of gear.
Yeah, it was
It
way
was dialed
more.
in.
It was dialed. Like I got back and there wasn't much
Dude,
left.
it's so funny.
Okay. I'll go to my second favorite episode.
Okay.
Second favorite episode is, I think it's called "Following the Lord's Voice" with Georgina Thompson.
There it is.
That one was one of my favorite ones because just listening to this lady, Nate's mom, tell her stories of being in Honduras and leading all these different people to the Lord made me realize like you can have a microphone and be preaching on a Sunday morning and not even realize that there's giants in your midst. Mm-hmm. Like that was like a humbling moment of like, oh my gosh, there's been a giant in our midst this whole time and we've never recognized it because she's not bragging about it. Dude. You know, like it just made you realize like there's wisdom and revelation in the people around you, and people have done things, saw things that the Lord has done that you've never seen. And they're in your midst, and the only way you find it is by asking them questions.
Gosh,
and
dude.
that was like one of those moments. I was like, I had no idea that Georgina was this. And then on top of that, I'm thinking, how in the goodness gracious has she never preached on a Sunday morning? Like I'm sitting there just like, what in the world? Somebody give this woman a microphone, like, you know? And it was just so like, wow, this is so. You know, I don't know. It was just,
I love that.
It was
episode
powerful.
too.
It was just really powerful.
You know, and it's fun too to listen, like with that idea to when you, especially like when you have those people in your life. Like I think of your parents, and you're just so accustomed to
familiar.
You're familiar, you
Yeah.
know, and like you've heard their stories, and and you're like, yeah, I know it's a big deal. But then it's like there is something that's just so cool when you're just hearing their testimony of the Lord and like their life while witnessing somebody hearing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And like I appreciate that with Mom. That was so cool.
Do you have a number 2?
I have one. I
have a
it's
number
funny
3.
because I'm looking at I just saw the one. It's funny to re-look at this list.
Yeah, there's so many different topics in the range. The range is kind of, I'm not going to brag on us, but it's kind of amazing because there's something different so frequently. Like it's not, you really don't know what to expect.
I just saw the one.
Which people were like, maybe exactly. That's your problem.
That's why we're all surprised you made it past 2.
Yeah. That's
like,
actually why we
finally.
haven't listened in 2 years, because we've actually been waiting for this
something to
episode to
make
happen. Because we
This
just,
is the third episode that made sense.
yeah, they're like, oh, okay, cool.
There it is.
I'll
They're
listen
done.
to this one.
They're finally
for the
done.
people who are just now tuning into Full Sun Living. That's for you.
My second one is the conflict.
Conflict resolution.
It's when we talked about.
Oh yeah, no. Do you want to retell the story of what happened?
I'm going to try to remember it.
I remember it in detail.
We were in the worship team together.
Yeah.
And I was leading worship. And in real time, as a worship leader, for my only experiences, my brain, it's the only brain I know, is like I'm thinking, I'm loving the Lord, but then you're also like I'm leading the band with stuff, so I'm trying to like keep track of all of this stuff in my mind, which can potentially be a challenge. But I remember,
and I'm the talkback.
Ethan's on the talkback.
So the talkback mic is a microphone that talks into everybody's in-ears.
Yeah.
So they can all hear me, but nobody in the crowd can hear me.
It only goes through the monitors. And then I believe I wanted to go into the chorus, and this is happening within like beats.
We're
like
going.
we only had like 4 like clicks to get there. And then I was like, if we could just cut the band out and just do just like drums and voices, that would just be
so epic.
Just kicking this thing in the face right now.
Yeah.
So I turn around and I'm like, stop. But instead of like a normal worship leader would say drums and voices, I just say like stop playing, like or something, right?
Yeah.
And then Ethan just goes like this. He's just on his face. He's like, no.
And
everybody just keeps going.
Just kept going.
And I looked at Ethan.
And he was like,
and
I'm
I was
gonna
like,
kill you.
I went, you should have stopped.
You should have stopped.
And this is like, wow.
Which I don't remember.
Hundreds of people are like worshiping the Lord, and conflict is happening in real time by the worship team.
I don't remember him verbing to me, you should have stopped. But I do remember his face, and it was not happy. It was very like, I'm leading the band, Ethan. You're not leading the band right now.
And then like,
so funny.
I'm remembering this even more as we're talking about it, because the idea was like, we shelved that for the greater of what was happening.
Yeah. It was like, because I wasn't trying to be defiant. Like, no, I'm in charge. It was like, we were like, goo, 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 and it was like, stop. No,
we're not.
It was like we're all full on.
Yeah,
it was
Ethan's
so fast.
Thing would be like, try that again, give us a warning. Let me know what we're actually doing so I can communicate to the band. The thing I love about that conversation, even this memory right now, is conflict is coming. It's always waiting to happen, and it's going to happen. And there's potentially always something greater than yourself that you should be doing. And in that, I remember we shelved it.
But we didn't shelve it to leave it.
Yes. We finished leading and playing our instruments and singing and doing all our stuff. And then we just followed up with each other and talked about it and cleared what was going on.
Yeah.
And I just remember like that. And
it wasn't just like, are you good? Are you good? It was like, no, let's really talk about why you did what you did. And
like clarify this. And if there is many things, but this thing I appreciate about you as a person is your willingness to clarify it, and your willingness to own it, and your willingness to like, to have that conversation, because it's such a small thing. Those things are so small,
and they
but
can get
man,
so
they
big.
grow so fast. Yeah. And it's like, to just think of like that moment, to go all the way back 2 years ago, and to wonder, had we not been willing to fix that, what other little, like, you know, when you just get like something like stuck in your shoe, it's like, or something, you know, or you got like a pinch or something, you know, that's what those things are. And we go through life with those things and we never do it. So like, I remember that, looking at it right now, I just love it all over again, that you're just so willing as a friend, to be an actual friend. I appreciate you.
Oh, thanks, dude. I feel like that's like, to me, like in every friendship, it's like, I choose to be friends with people that will go to war for the friendship. That it's like, I don't want to go to war with you just to go to war with you. I want to go to war so that we save our friendship. And it's like, if one bad offensive thing happens where one person offends the other, and then either one of you is just willing to roll over and let your friendship die because of it, to me, that's like, I don't trust you. Like, I want to fight for our relationship like I would fight for my marriage. Like, you know what I mean? In that sense, where it's like, if there's something that happened, let's just talk about it. Let's share honestly how we feel to each other. And if we're not going to share our emotions and our feelings honestly with each other, then what are we even doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's the level.
What is this?
Goes.
Yeah, it's like at that point you're just like a coworker that I've never had a relationship with. You're just somebody randomly placed in my life that is going to go away one day, and that doesn't work for me. Like, it's like the people in my life I want to be in my life,
And that's when too, like, even like to think back, like just over all of these years, but like even like on like when we were on our hike up north a couple of times I just know you're just always willing to pull in the periscope and dive deep with me at a moment's notice. Like, it's just like
probably uncomfortably.
Like to go from just like casual conversation to like
hijacking you and Brad's
just
conversation.
Like to just be like just deep, like to go like, no, I've been thinking about this, like this real thing I want to share with you, like, or something like that. I just love that about you.
Dude, back at you, buddy.
What else do you got? What do you got?
It's funny. I feel like recording this episode, I felt like I would be so much more sad, but in reality, I'm just really happy for all these amazing memories over time, and like the documenting by recording all these different stories and conversations that, like, I had forgotten about that conflict one because it's just funny. Okay. You'll notice this episode's going to feel way more just they're all conversations, but this one we're not going to be dialed in. Like, this might be a longer episode, so buckle your seatbelt up. Okay, episode 3, my third episode that I've picked was keeping your marriage in the friend zone. That one was just fun because I feel like we came up with that idea, like, what's it like to keep your marriage in the friend zone, and like about dating your spouse and like having fun with them and them being your best friend, and like, what do we do to keep our marriage and our relationship with our spouse in the friend zone?
I like that.
It was just fun. Like, I honestly can't even recall what we talked about, but that is something like when I think about like you and Kate and me and Lydia, like, I feel like that's something we all do really well.
Tell me, what's the latest thing you guys have done? Can you
together?
Yeah, just like something that's just like.
Well, Lydia just ran a marathon.
Dude,
I mean,
I just was fluffing her feathers.
And
I came into here and you were in here, and I went in the house, and I'm just like, I'm still couldn't be more impressed.
Yeah,
and I just think it's awesome that she did it.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was incredible. It was honestly incredible to watch her do it, because it was just like watching somebody suffer for 5 hours. Like, and to just be like, man, you're super strong mentally, physically, everything.
That's great.
That I feel like
that's across the state.
That was across the state. Yeah, I felt like that was one of those things, like, for Lydia, where she wanted, like, where she has these different hobbies, where like running is one of those hobbies where she doesn't have a lot of friends who like to run.
Yeah,
and so for
normal people don't.
Yeah. Freaking nuts.
But the reason why we made cars and domesticated horses
in one wheels. But she had been saying, like, on the trip, she was just like, I'm just super glad like you're here, and it means a lot to me that you're doing this with me. And
Ethan turned down a hike.
Oh yeah.
He was like, but I can't go because my wife's got she's running a marathon.
Yeah. Anyways, you're making me seem like the most amazing husband ever.
Well,
but
from my angle, you are.
That was one of those things where it was like I feel like my past self would have been like, I don't want to sit in the sun for 5 hours. This is stupid. I'm literally I saw her, for the amount of time I saw her, was probably added up into seconds over that 5 hours and 25 minutes it took her to finish. Right. I probably saw her for a total of maybe 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Of that whole thing. So like, my past self would have been just sitting there, just like, so stupid. It's so hot. I'm getting eaten up by bugs. I'm literally been itching myself sitting here still from all these bugs and just been like, oh, this is just so dumb. But like, I feel like over time, making sure that the friend zone is a thing, I see it differently now, where it's like, no, she's my best friend. Like I want her to know that I take interest in what she likes, even if I'm just like total spectator mode right now.
Dude,
you know,
that's so cool.
So that was one of those. That's the most recent thing that happened literally a couple days ago.
That's where I feel like Kate just came through for me on
Let's
something.
go, Kate.
We went on this weekend, which I initially was like, all right, this is a weekend I can go hiking with some friends.
We all did so many amazing friend zone things this weekend.
It didn't line up with the dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we scheduled something that it fell off the calendar. So like 2 weeks ago, Kate was like, are you going to go hiking again since it opened back up that weekend? And I was like, well, no dudes can go. And I was like,
she was
do
like,
you want to go? You and Bear, well, let's go. And she was like, okay. So I was like, okay. So then I had to like realize I needed gear for her and Bear, and phone a couple friends, came through for me on a couple of things. We went up to Manistee, which is over here, and there's the Manistee River Loop. It's like a 20-mile loop. We did 1 mile of that with my tribe, but it was hilariously fun.
Oh, cool.
Because one thing Kate read on this article, because she was looking at just some kind of like hiking with your family, and this guy was like, lower your expectations if you're taking your kids. Like, just don't have expectations. Like, your kid is going to want to pack a stuffed animal, some paper plane, and like anything they don't need, they're going to want to bring.
Cholula.
And then so Kate was like telling me this, and I'm just like laughing. So then I filed that in my head, like not in a negative way, just like, you know what?
Just like low expectations.
You're taking your 10-year-old and he's got to carry his own stuff. Just be fun, Nate. Don't be a doo-doo.
Yeah.
Dude, we get a mile. We find this beautiful campsite. We set up our hammocks, which Kate has never done, ever. She's never even slept in a hammock. Like, she doesn't even nap in hammocks. So then, as the sun sets in the Manistee National Forest or wherever we are, the woods come alive.
Yes.
And
every sound that you...
Kate was wide awake.
The whole night?
Pretty close. It was like,
oh my gosh, it's a bear.
Dark, Bear fell asleep. I was awake in my hammock because I was like, my son is going to freeze because he's going to fall off this air mattress and freeze. Sure enough, he's off the air mattress. Every hour I would get up to check on him, he's just sleeping in a ball with the air mattress beside him. And it's dropping down to like low 60 degrees, maybe upper 50s, which is cold in a hammock. So I'm putting him, and then I'm thinking the whole time, Kate's like, she's not enjoying this at all, because like a stick or something, I assumed to be a stick fell, and just dead blackness. Kate's like, did you hear that?
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard it. And then this like owl thing a few hours later was screeching. And she's like, do you hear that? I'm like, yeah, we all, like, anybody who's out here, we're all here. Everything you hear, I'm hear. Because it's dead quiet.
Because we're in the woods and there's nobody else around.
Nobody's around.
So everything we're hearing is from
amplified.
nature.
Yeah. And then a coyote howls at like 3 in the morning or so.
The kid's like, I'm not doing this anymore.
She's like, I'm like, hey. She's like, hey. I'm like, are you doing okay? So we're just, picture just black.
Yeah.
And 2 hammocks 10 feet away with a kid in the middle. And I'm like, you doing okay? She's like, no, I'm just pretty scared. I'm like, okay. So I get up at 3:30 and I got this stupid headlight on and I'm walking over to her. And then she's like, can you just get in this hammock with me? And I'm like, well, it says it's rated for 2 people. But I'm like, I don't know if the science is here because it's so narrow in reality. So I grab my air mattress.
Just face to face on top of each other.
just very romantic.
This is really intimate.
So I'm trying.
Mom, Dad, what are you doing?
Wait. Bear pops up from his hammock because we're shuffling around and making noise. And he's like, what's the story here?
Is that what he really said?
And I'm like,
What's the
there's no story. Just go back to sleep. So then I'm
He's
like
going to have
trying to get in
stories
the
now when he
hammock.
gets
He's gonna have
older.
this
He's
weird
going to be
memory
telling kids, they'll
of
be like,
seeing
I
Dad
remember when
trying
I
to
walked
get
in on my
Mom's
parents.
hammock.
He's going to say, he'll be like, oh yeah, you walked in on your parents? I was camping.
I heard a coyote howl. Wake up to my dad trying to get in my mom's hammock.
It was so weird.
So then, I'm now trying to get my mattress in the tiny hammock that says it's rated for 2, 3:30 into the blackness. It doesn't. Kate goes to slide over, does a flip. Now she's on the ground, still stuck in the hammock because it's got the bug net, so you can't get out. It's just like trapping a giant fish.
Why am I not vlogging your family?
Dude, I get her back into the hammock, and I'm just like, I think I should go back to my hammock. And she's like, yeah. And then we wake up in the morning and pack out. And I was like, you're my friend. Like, you are my friend, Kate Thompson, to want to be willing to come out there and let me cook you instant mashed potatoes and chicken and eat that with me. Barrett, favorite meal right now. He was like blown away by what I made. Yeah. So we just did that, and it was amazing. Friend zone, dude.
Yep.
And we just sat.
Her suffering proves friendship.
It did, you know? So funny.
It is funny.
It was crazy.
Dude. I guess the moral of the story on that one is do some stuff that you don't like to do with your spouse.
Yeah,
it's
like
good
if
for you.
Your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever, if they're into it, try it out, man. Don't be a stinker.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you got any other favorite episodes? That's 3 for me.
Let me just. It feels like I'm cheating if I look at them because I feel like I'm
gonna say all my nice things about you at the end because I feel like that feels nicer.
Let's just not. Let's leave that for the next episode.
No, there is not another episode.
You never know. Good. You know what? You know what I really appreciated? Completely appreciated was at the start of this year, you were like, let's go through your book.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember, like...
It's a good book.
I just really appreciated that. Like, my heart did. Like, that you were just like, yeah, we'll just use our podcast for 6 weeks to talk about your book. And it seems simple right now as you're like, yeah, it's not like... But it's just great to not be competing with you as a friend. Mm-hmm. And to be able to just, like... I feel like you and Lydia both, I feel like you guys are good at celebrating with people.
Oh, thanks.
And I appreciate it. And I just love that. And I think like, even though like, so not so much as like that series of episodes because it was about the book. It was just the whole moments before any of it where you were like, we should do your book. Mm-hmm. Like it was like,
it's a really good book.
You had this great idea.
I have a brilliant idea. Let's use all your ideas as a podcast.
But I just remember, like, I love that the selflessness and the idea that the friendship is just like that solid. Dude, in the way of like, it was just that simple and normal.
Dude, I hope everybody around me feels like I'm their biggest cheerleader because to me, like, yeah, that's like a no-brainer to me.
Gosh,
like,
I always want to do that, dude, don't we? Mm-hmm. Like, just rush and point. I remember there was like, I think it was a Craig Groeschel podcast that Kate listened to years ago that he said those words, like to like rush in on people and just point, like rush and point. Like, this person is winning. They're amazing. And dude, to be willing...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The other thing Craig Groeschel says that goes along with that I was thinking about is he says like great leaders don't teach people how to do what they're doing. Great leaders teach people to do the things they can't do.
Guys, if there's ever a podcast you want to bump over to,
just pop over to Craig Groeschel's leadership podcast.
You're going to find me and Ethan listening to it. Yeah, but like that idea to me from those episodes. So it's more than the episodes themselves was the behind it, what was actually behind it, like the spirit behind it was just like just a generosity towards a friend to be like, let's push this thing. And I just love that.
I know you would do the same for me. So
Well, then write a book.
I'm good. I want to.
Yes, he does.
He inspired me to write one. So it's not really in the works, but it's kind of in the works. It's like
it's in the same amount of work.
It's in the sandbox right now, big time. It's not even in the swings or merry-go-round. Right. It's sandbox right now.
Hey.
But we have some visitors down below. I mean, if there's anything that we're still recording right now, so we're in the upstairs of my barn, and there's been frequent of episodes where my children come in running down below us, and they're like, "Mom, Dad," and we're like, "Go away, we're recording."
Yeah. Or we'll see like the neighbors walk by.
Yeah,
through the giant window.
Pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yes, Nate Thompson. What can I say about you before we end?
I don't think you should.
I have to.
I feel like
it's
you've
the end of
more
this.
than enough.
Nope. No.
I already praised you for rushing and pointing.
Yeah,
you can't now because now you just feels
let
like
me let me rush and point at Nate real quick. Boop. So here's some of the things I really admire in you. I've seen it in you. Is you're an incredible encourager. You challenge ideas in a good way, not in a like, let me just rock the boat, but you challenge thoughts and ideas that could be possibly coming from the wrong heart. You are extremely deep, wise, and you care about the person that's across from you. And over the 65 episodes of doing this podcast, that is what I've learned at a deeper level that I already knew out in public, but just from talking to you, from just discussing things that like, this thing isn't about like popularity to you. Like people really matter to you, and the people that you're friends with matter to you. And I just appreciate like you're just real. Like it's not fake and fluff and all the other things. So
thank you, good sir. Thank you.
You're a good friend.
You're a good friend. I appreciate that you can clean a deer but can't get your blood drawn.
That's accurate. That is accurate.
That's a real thing I like about you.
It's very real. I cannot do that. I do
strong
not like
sensitive.
needles. That's also, yes, accurate.
I have appreciated you and the fact of how much you've put into all of the behind the scenes to even make this happen. Because had you not been a part of this, I would be talking into my phone with a friend.
It would be a phone.
We would have my phone like this and have the voice memo on, and then I would just load that.
Yep.
So you have always been committed to the cause. Like I feel like you have been like between even like with the camera and the stuff, like just the stuff where you're doing it, yes, with your own projects, you and Lyd that you guys have, but then even into it, just sharing it with others. Like you're a generous person. And I love that about you. Like you're willing to be like, hey, we can do this. And then the amount of work of even telling me what microphone I needed and just knowing that, like your knowledge base has always just been just a well. I love it.
Thanks,
I appreciate your commitment to like the desire for as good of an offering, as excellent of an offering that you can create to give to the Lord. I feel like that's where you'd go for it. And I love that. I'm so thankful. Beyond full send, but just in life.
Thanks, dude. What can we say? What can we say?
We're
at the end here.
In a hurry. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you up to? What are you doing?
Yeah, I like that. Let's end it with that. What are we doing?
What are you sending?
What are we doing
right now?
Well, our kids just went to school, to elementary school. So like
first day was today.
Yeah, first day was yesterday.
Sorry.
Yeah. So like if you've been listening to our podcast, you know that we've just been on a nonstop journey of just becoming better, more present parents. Mm-hmm. And so like for me, that's been a big thing for me is just like when my kids get home, I want like I didn't know that I was going to make this my goal, but now I'm making it my goal is like, I'm going to drop my kids off and pick them up every day. Like I want to be that dad who's like, I'm here for you. Like I'm the last word you hear before you leave and the first word you hear when you get back. So that's like a big thing for me right now. It's not even this big special project, but that to me is like, it's just really important. Lydia and I are doing our YouTube channel, Lydia and Ethan channel. That's been really fun. I feel like we're like getting into, like these different topics and these different ideas that are really like fun for us. Well, I think before we were making some videos that felt like a little bit more just like trying to get people to watch. And now I feel like we're just making videos for us. So we're kind of shifting gears in that sense.
Even in the way you just have like documented the best home video series, bare minimum for your kids for the rest of their life. That is like, that in itself to me is like amazingly great.
Yeah. That's what keeps us going is we're like, even if people don't subscribe to our channel, like we're making really awesome home videos that can be rewatched and they're like watchable and not like my dad gave me a thumb drive a little while ago of all of our home videos. And it's like, it's just home videos.
It's painful.
It's so, you're just like, man, like I told my dad, I was like, Dad, we were watching it and he's just filming us dancing to Lion King. And I'm thinking, he's pushing record on that bad boy. That cassette's taking up cassette time. Yeah. And I'm thinking, that was worth you holding the camera and recording for 15 minutes.
Like, how long can we watch Lindsay open these birthday presents?
Yeah, and toss our cat around. Like, that was one thing too. I told my dad, I was like, Dad, that gave me a whole different level of like respect for you guys as parents to be like, every minute is worth recording. Yeah. Well, like in our day and age, TikTok and Instagram and everything is so quick. Like I'm pushing record and taking record off every 2 minutes. Like I'd never have a stationary shot of my kids because I'm thinking nobody wants to watch this. I don't even want to watch this.
I know what this looks like. I've seen this.
So that's pretty funny. But yeah, if you are listening to this, go subscribe to Lydia and I's channel. That's been really fun. We recently won the Sony Vlogging Award of 2022. Which has not even been announced yet. It's going to be announced in like a couple weeks. So
now half the world is going to know.
Pretty excited about that. Yeah. And Lydia has some new music coming out. We just finished it. I'm literally going to show Nate it after we get done recording this episode.
Boop. Love that.
Perks of being a friend.
Hey-o. I love it when I get sneak peeks because like it's always the weirdest. I can remember B-dubs. We went and grabbed some B-dubs and you're like, hey, check this out.
Check this out. Get in the
We're
car.
In the van.
Yeah.
In his blacked out minivan.
Just two dudes in a minivan.
Nothing's here, people. Just two dads listening to some music.
Two dads, no kids.
I love a good sneak peek.
Yeah. What else are we doing? Last thing is Lydia and I are running with our great team and friends, The Clearing.
Yes.
Yep. So that's been like a total new adventure for us. I'm learning so much through it, running The Clearing and just like the spiritual weight behind being like a father of a church and of a body and the bride of Christ and the burden of like making Christians be a bride and like be the church outside of a church setting. And so that's been like just really fun and new. And I think like it's awesome because I don't feel like I'm qualified by any means for it. But it feels right that I don't feel qualified. It feels like I'm like bringing my weakness to the Lord in the sense of my lack of knowledge or leadership or whatever. And he's like just plugging in what I need every week. So that's been really cool.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. What are you and Kate up to?
What are we up to? Bear also is going to school, starts next week, and he's going back to public school, which we've the past 2 years have homeschooled.
We've homeschooled 2 years, both of us. Thompsons and Brickers, sending our kids back in.
And that's, the funnest part I think is, because like we told Bear when we pulled him, when we were going to homeschool, we're like, this is what we're going to do. because we feel like it's the best for what's happening right now with COVID and all the stuff. And obviously we're going to reevaluate with the family and the Lord each year, which we would do. And then this year, like in January or February, he was like, I want to go back to Indian Woods. And then we started just kind of talking about it. And then it was really fun as a little family to be like, let's talk about this. We're going to have a business dinner. And then we had, we grilled or whatever, and we ate out in the back deck, and we were eating and talking to him like, why do you want to go back to school? Or what do you feel about it? What do you think with homeschool? And just letting my 10-year-old have
the floor,
his voice.
Yeah.
Like, just say it. Talk to me, kid. Tell me what you're thinking. And so then, you know, Kate and I were just like, yeah, we're gonna talk about it as mom and dad. We're gonna talk about it and consider everything that you've shared as to why you want to go back to school, and we're gonna, you know, talk to the Lord about it and see where we're at. And so then it's just one of those, dude. It's huge and it's tiny. It's you picking up your kids and dropping them off. It's the biggest thing you could be doing in a normal world wide whatever. It's like, yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
No, it's a huge deal. And it's like, so to have that with Bear. And so we went today, just now I came from the school here. We met his teacher for school, and I'm fired up for him. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just hoping for just the best of everything for him with this year for school and just like friends and whatever. And so that started. That's kind of like a big deal because I don't know. Kate's a little not like nervous completely or anything like that. It's just like she has been. I think she really treasures. I know she does the time that she's had with him with homeschooling. Like, it's just been like such a unique opportunity for us because we never thought we would do it ever.
Yeah.
We never kicked around the idea up until a couple of years ago. So now that she's had that, and to be like my little man cub, he said no. You know, I think so that's going to also open up a new chapter for us there with potentially Kate going back into the workforce of having whatever. So she kind of started looking around for some ideas, and that's new. This coming weekend on the 3rd, Saturday the 3rd, we're going to have Caring for Kids. Kate and I put that on last year.
Yeah.
And
so that'll literally be, if you're listening to this on the
day.
Friday, it'll be tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this on Friday, September 2nd,
tomorrow,
get your kids,
we're doing
go to Caring for Kids.
It's going to be held at the property up on State Road.
In Michigan.
Yep. And if you go to eventbrite.com, you can type in Caring for Kids, and it'll bring you to the link so you can register. What it is last year we did it, like we had the idea from Trigger Reload when we put on that little conference. And then it's making cards for kids in the hospital. It's getting people to donate and give towards buying $30 gift cards for Grubhub and DoorDash or whatever to give to the families in them. And I'm just going to say this. Last year we did 106, I believe, cards, stuffed animals, and we ended up with $3,000 in gift cards, which blew my mind. And then this year, realistically, I was like, I think we could do $5,000. I really think we could do it. Like, I feel like I will shake every money tree I can find shamelessly. I just don't care. I feel like after I saw it, what happened, I was like, I'm just willing to just embarrassingly enough ask somebody, give me your money for these kids.
Yeah.
As of right now, we're closing in on $12,000 for gift cards.
Freaking awesome. It's so awesome.
We just ordered another 100. We have 400 stuffed animals in my house in these big boxes. And then we've got like registered right now, like 40 to 50 people coming to make cards. And I'm just unbelievable. Like, it's unbelievable that is happening. And then so we're going to take it down to St. John's, Maine for the children's unit. I know they don't realize what's coming and the amount of stuffed animals. And I think we're going to give them a heads up on that if we need to bring it down 2 loads. I don't know where they store the stuff.
Yeah.
But last year to hear like there's kids in the hospital for 2 months almost, and for oncology, and they don't want to eat the hospital food, and to just think like they would come up every so many days and give them another gift card for $30 for food was like, it melted my heart.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you never know if that could be us,
Yeah.
any of us at any moment, to have to spend a couple nights, weeks, a month, and just to like hear the names of all the people who came last year, 106 different friends type thing of here's $30 for food, you know, and then this year, just crazy. Like I don't even understand it, to be honest with you. Like, and then I'll share this. This is pretty fresh off the box. Like I don't have any rails for this.
Before you switch topics, let me just say one thing that I love about caring for kids is that like that was like one of those triggered things where you're like, I don't really even know what this is, but I'm going to pull the trigger. And like, I think God gives us these opportunities in life where he's like, hey, try that. Just pull the trigger once and see what happens. You know what I mean? It's like, I just feel like, cause like we're looking at caring for kids as what it is right now. Like what's next year going to be like?
Right.
Not that you have to do it next year, but I'm
But
just
what
saying,
if?
I mean, it went from 3,000 to 12,000. Like
Crazy.
what's going to happen?
And dude, and to tell all of you guys to be completely honest about it, this year was kind of like on a whim. Like I was talking, like me and Kate were talking, and I just said, my heart needs to do something. Like I need this. And we were like, let's do it again. And we'll just, and we were like, well, we picked potentially the worst weekend to do it because it was the only one we had open, which is Labor Day weekend. But I'm like, who cares? Like we need to, and Kate was the same. She's like, let's do it. And it's just, it's so amazing how the gospel, when you put the gospel into motion, serving the Lord just strengthens your heart.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's like sometimes you want to sit and you're like in this spot of life where you're like, I need to rest. I need to sit, be still, and all of that. I understand it. I get it. I'm there. I'm also in those moments. There's a time where it's like in my rest, I still serve the Lord.
Yeah.
You know, and then in serving the Lord in my rest, I find rest because it's him.
Yeah.
And to like think of like, I have friends at work who are just giving money towards it. They don't have kids. And, you know, Venmoed me $200. I had a guy today send $200. I didn't even know who it was. I thought it was somebody else. And I'm like, did you Venmo me money? And he's like, no. And he's like, but I'm gonna. So then it got a funny conversation because I said, I'm not trying to like passively aggressively shame you into giving money. I only know like one Nick. And I thought it was you because I don't even know his last name because he's a rep. He lives down, I don't even know where the dude lives. He lives like an hour and a half away. So it was like a whole funny thing. So I finally figured out who this Nick is. And it's like, so like people have just been giving towards it. And it's just amazing. It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
So we're going to put a bow on that this weekend. And then something that's on my mind, Ethan Bricker, is what is actually going on with like the homeless community in my hometown. I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't have a grip on it. I don't have a scope of it. I don't have anything of it, but I want to know it. I want to understand it more. And I don't fully know what to do with it. If saying what you just said about caring for kids, where I was like, I don't really know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I'm there right now with this because I don't know what it is. Like why I'm like curious about it. Like in a way of like, I want to swing by the soup kitchen and like kick around there. I want to just hear them talk, the people running it, and like, what are you doing? What do you need? What don't you need? What's going on? I want to go. There's a little church downtown that caters to the less fortunate. And it's a small church and nobody really knows what they're doing. I don't even know what they're doing, but I know the pastor there from like a memory of 25 years ago where I drummed when I was like a kid. I was like 17, and I ended up I would take my drums to their church every Sunday and drum there. And then I'm like, now he's got this other church, and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I just heard about his name again this morning. And like, I put a note on my phone, find Scott and talk to him. Cause I'm like, I don't want to I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So that's new. You're potentially the third or fourth person who's heard this idea. Like, I'm just kind of like, I'm curious and I don't know. And I don't know. So I've got that like in my mind. I want to see about that. Kate and I, we wrote down some ideas. Like she texted me the other day and I'm like, are you trying to like inspire me right now? Cause you're doing it. Like, she was just like, just asking me, like, what are you dreaming about? And I'm like, I don't know. I feel sometimes sometimes over the past years, I felt like broken in a way of like, I can't dream anymore. Yeah. In the way of like, I had this whole thing through all of my 20s of doing this big thing. And then when that ended, I had dreams that it wasn't the same, like in the way of like
massive.
Yeah. You know, so to like have Kate make me have to start like making up stuff was like, gosh, man, you're like getting me fired up, babe. You know?
I love that.
And then, so I have an idea that is way too much for my mind, but I want to say it out loud because sometimes that helps me either kill it or thrive it. Is maybe writing another book.
You heard it here first. Full something like that. Nate Thompson writing a new book. You heard it here.
Intimidates me, and it intimidates me because I have ideas of what I want it to be, and honestly, I don't know that I have enough. I don't know if I have enough.
Yeah.
But that's something. It's like it's more than me and Kate, you know, and we're still doing our best with what we know how to do with Between Sundays, and it's coming up. December is a year, and we've been doing. I don't know, like it's interesting to see like we sell books.
Yeah.
Which is it's just been neat, dude. It's been so neat. The stories that I've heard from friends and just people about just reading it is just so encouraging to my heart, you know?
Yeah, it's
so
a
I
great
don't know,
book.
man. We're just kind of like on to like just little adventures with the Lord, but that seem like they're not little. Like they're like, I don't know what we're getting
You're
into.
like on the cusp.
It's
of
like
something.
Kate going backpacking with me. She's like, yeah, I'll do that. And then we got out there and she's like, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, what are we doing?
Did
you hear that?
Did you hear that? Yes, we all heard it. Yeah, you know, so I don't know, but like, there's just a willingness. I feel like right now, me and Kate have like a willingness to like find the Lord. And what that fully is, I don't know, because
I think sometimes it's good
just,
though to have that like that level of like I don't know what we're doing, like I don't know, you know, or like is this just so much bigger than I am because of that whole idea of like if you can do it in your own strength and or your own wisdom or whatever, then you get to do it on your own. But if it's God, then you got to lean on Him the whole way.
Yeah, like even like this, dude. What do you like? Even with full send, like I feel like there's gonna be. Nobody knows we're not doing this anymore.
Until now.
Like literally, like
yeah.
It wasn't like we talked about it all year. Like we're gonna be done this year. We would meet, like we would get together like at the beginning of the year and kind of kick around and trying to get better at honing in and putting rails down and stuff like that. But like I don't know, we brought this up to each other, like, what are we doing with this? And then
it's like 2 months ago or so.
Yeah, you know, and then we kind of like,
what's the long-term plan with this, you know?
Yeah, so it wasn't like, I don't know what I'm trying to say right now. I lost my train of thought. Why I even brought it up.
Yeah, I'm confused as well. But it wasn't like we just started. We didn't have a plan of like when we were going to end or when we were going,
Yeah,
it was
like,
we just
were like,
were going. And then eventually I think we got to this point that, we were like, okay, we'll end at the end of the year. And then I was kind of like, well, if we're going to end, let's just end. Like, why like come up with a bunch of topics between September and December if we know we're going to end? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I was like, let's just end. Like, let's just be, instead of trying to like pretend like we're not ending, that's
And
where my heart would have a hard time even going episode after episode and feeling like, but we're going to end here soon,
I think there's something just kind of neat. It's just neat to me even to end something with somebody. Not in the, gosh, does that sound dumb? Is it sounded?
No, I think
in a healthy way. Like,
yeah.
We were
it's
saying,
not a
the only
weird
difference
separation
for us is our conversations are going to be recorded.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel, I mean, it probably just over the course of years, it probably just feels nice to like mutually end something and everybody loves everybody at the end of it,
Yeah, like when you have like I think of just like episodes of things that, man, if they would have just ended it right here, they would have just nailed it.
Yeah.
And you keep tinkering on.
The Office, season 8, season 9, Robert California. If they would have just ended it when Michael Scott left. Yeah. So we're going to just do everybody the courtesy of not bring in Robert California right now.
And dude, I'm not lying, and I know that you're the same. I'm excited for what we're still just going to be doing together. And what does that look like? Because I love the idea of not doing something just for the sake of doing something.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. I feel like we've talked about that in an episode where you're doing a good thing, but
we want to have purpose, sharpness, strategy. Like that's really important to me is like, I want to know that like what I'm doing is sharp, is going to pierce hearts, is going to go the distance, isn't just going to fumble after 10 yards. Like it's either going somewhere or it's going to help somebody get somewhere.
And I think like right now in the junctions of life that we're in, I do 100% believe there's things that need our full attention.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, like one of them is the clearing, because the clearing is one of those things where it's like right now in my heart, I'm like, I want this to have like, I want like what the Lord is going to do in our community to be explosive. Like I want like homeless people showing up. Like I'm dreaming of like having a homeless like breakfast every Sunday and these different like outreaches and people getting saved, coming to the Lord and going to Africa as missions trips and going to Africa and working in dumpsters in
repairing dumpsters.
You're repairing dumpsters. There's a really big ministry out there.
A lot of people don't know this.
Working in the dumps, like where people literally live in dumps, and just doing like things that are super impactful and doing it as a community who's like on fire for the Lord and to serve the needs of others. And it's so small right now. So like the challenge right now that I'm dealing with is like, I want this thing to be sharp and to cut in deep into people's hearts to where people don't walk away thinking, well, the pastor's going to change the world. Like I want people to be like, no, I have a caring for kids in my heart. I have a book in me, whatever. Like I want people to walk away like the Lord can do something profound with my life.
Yep.
But when it's so small, it can just feel so discouraging and not so massive when you have this massive picture. And so by giving it more attention is helping me to see the little seedling that it is, and it's not that it needs to be massive. So like, I think sometimes we look at ministries or whatever as it needs to be this big, massive thing. I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about like massive people, like giants, Even if we have 100 giants, that are just giants in the Lord, generals in the Lord, like who are like, they're doing the stuff. Like they're the Jesus's 12, like that is what I want it to be, massive in that sense of a scale, not necessarily like thousands and thousands of people. If it needs to be thousands of people, sweet. But even if it's just 100 reckless lovers of God, let it be that. But I think that's where this is challenging for me in that sense, because it's just a little tiny seed, and I'm just trying to like guard it and protect it. And the Lord's like, here's some talents, take care of it while I'm away. When I get back, are you going to grow it? And I'm like, I hope so. And that's my whole like mindset right now, is the Lord's like, here's some talents. When I get back, I hope there's more. And I'm like, okay, because it's not my talents, and the ministry is not my ministry. Yeah. It's the Lord's. And I'd hope that when he comes back, it's better. And then he can give me and trust me with more. So,
dude.
Yeah. Anyways, I could preach on that for a while.
New adventures.
I will be preaching on that this Sunday at the Clearing. Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot going on for both of us, but I think the biggest thing is we both know this is not the end of whatever we both do together. There's going to be something. So you're going to have to just stick around and
keep your ears to the ground, people.
Yep. Just
because you never know. When something smells off, tune in.
Something's happening. So yeah, we'll probably keep Full Sun Living up for, I don't know, a few months.
Oh, yeah, keep this thing going, man. Didn't we pay for it anyway?
Yeah, we got to pay monthly for it, but
it'll
be up on YouTube forever.
I finally just paid Ethan for 2 years.
It was amazing. I was like,
it's on his credit card, and it goes out. And I was like, man, I don't think I paid him last year, and I got to pay him this year. And then he was like, no, I think you paid me last year. And I'm like, gosh, I'm pretty sure I didn't.
And then all of a sudden I have $144 in my account. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Checks in the mail.
Yeah. So we're good until January.
Yeah, we'll keep it up there for a little bit longer, and who knows?
These downloads going. If we see the downloads coming,
if they start skyrocketing, it finally ended. Let's tune in. Yeah, we'll see. But we love you all so much. Thank you, every single person who has listened and messaged us, texted us, whatever, Instagram messaged us and just said like, hey, this was so impactful for me. We had a lot of people that would text us throughout this whole journey. And honestly, I think a lot of the reason we stuck it out so long too is just because we had a lot of people messaging us saying how impactful it was. And that is really helpful.
Yeah, that's encouraging.
Yep.
Thank you guys for just hanging out with us and checking in and listening. And
yep. It's the end of a really, really good chapter of a really good book that I'm glad to have been a part with this guy.
Oh.
Love you.
I love you.
You're a good guy.
You are.
And a good friend. Oh, this feels so weird. Well, I like don't even want to say it.
Here's what, buddy. I want you to trust God.
Trust God.
Okay. I want you to take risks.
Send it every single day.
Every day.
We're getting tattoos after this.
I already got one.
Reveal it. We both reveal. We both like, oh. And it's each of our faces on each other. Yeah.
All right. We love you guys. Stay tuned for what's next.
Yep. Because there's going to be stuff.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, there's either you might have a book, I might have a book. Who knows? Yeah. Something might happen. But either way, yeah, we love you guys. I feel like we need to say it at the same time. Trust God.
Okay, ready?
1, 2, 3. Trust God, take risks, and send it every single day. Until next time.
Boop. Love ya.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, it's the end.
Okay.
That's a wrap.
That's a meme. When you tell a joke so funny, HR wants to hear it.